We live. This is the warm-up period. Henry McClure Live. It's Saturday Night Live here in the Glass Houses studio. I've had a long business day, and we're actually simulcasting right now. We're going out live on X, formerly Twitter. But right now, I think one of the most important things that I can make a point to why you elect me to be mayor, and a lot of it is what I won't do. You know, if we can stop what's taking place today, we could at least take a breath and be able to start repairing the mess we're in. Think about it. We've invested over 25 years, $125 million. Where's Doug Kinzinger? He was making $500,000 a year off this. But the point is we've got bad streets. From time to time, we have to boil water. Sometimes people don't feel safe in their own neighborhoods. We're not growing. People are leaving. Even the head of the chamber up here. He, you know, when the rats start jumping ship. Not that he's a rat, but he sure didn't like me, I'll tell you that. And I don't mind if a guy doesn't like me. I'm not here to please him, although I did sell him his house. That's always a great story. I love telling that. But what we've got to start talking about, and I'm going to say one more thing too. If you elect my opponent, then the people up there, the existing hotel buyers, they're going to appoint the guy to take his seat. So the new people that I think that will get on won't have enough juice to keep, you know, they're all going to want to elect a like-minded guy, and the existing council and the mayor are what got us into this mess, plus their biggest consultant, because the Jetto. And what's so hard about trying to run for mayor is the education process. You know, when I was a state champion gymnast, I always looked at myself as a bad coach. I mean, the only good backflip I think I ever taught was to a fella named Tom Dinkle. The biggest backflip I ever taught. But sometimes I lack patience. You can see sometimes in my videos I get distracted, go down a different street. There's a lot of stuff going on up here. But Jetto, made up of the county, the 3 county commissioners, well, actually the 4 county commissioners, because this guy, this Rich Eckert, he basically acts as a county commissioner. And after looking at this, he's on the board of directors of Go Topeka. And I don't understand this guy. I put him up there twice because I think he's twice a problem that we know. You know, he just kind of gets to come and go. He works for the county, goes over, works in the private sector, decides that's no good anymore, just comes back. It's like Braxton Copley. You know, and I think some of these bureaucratic hacks are also what make our city bad. And I've been thinking a lot about the water department, the city manager. You know, now that I see Dr. Perez, Robert Perez, he's on the board of Go Topeka. Sam Moran, Ashley Bettis, Joe Codwell, Kevin Cook, Richard Eckert, Chris Falk, Lanisa Frazier, Calla Haggard, Dr. Kevin Hahn, Manny Herron, Lieutenant Colonel Chris Hill, Shane Hilmer, one of our favorite citizens, Jim Klossman, Kurt Kuda, who apparently knew all along that Jim was never going to fix Lawrence Bay. I digress. Jeff Martin, Michael Louboutin, Mayor Mike Padilla, Robert Perez, Kevin Rake, Troy, somebody, Kurt Sneeden, Marvin Spees, Neil Spencer, and Darren Stevens. So that board of directors, and this is on my Facebook page, that board of directors voted to give Cody Foster $9.5 million. And I want to know who voted on it person by person. And this is a perfect time. This is a perfect time to prove to the voters of what a corrupt system we're running here. Innovation Center update. Stephanie Moran, right here, she probably was a decent person at Payless. That was a good company. Presented the Innovation Center 2.0 investment. She began with the history of Innovation Center 1.0. That's where we put $1 million into Wolf Camera. These guys, in their infinite wisdom. And I really want to know where $125 million is gone. We know where $1 million went. Boom, Wolf Camera. And the guy that was on Innovation Center 1 said the reason it didn't work was that Molly Howie right here didn't do her part in the deal. Well, an in-depth and robust discussion was held with the board members. I like the word robust. Klossman kept saying he didn't vote for it. He didn't vote for it. But you know, Jimbo, I want proof. So a motion to approve the Innovation 2.0, Curtis Sneeden, motion to approve, seconded by Manny Herron. Calla Haggard, the chair, presented per the bylaws that this would go to a supermajority because of the robust discussion. Motion to use the supermajority vote. Neil Spencer motioned to use it, and seconded by Darren Stevens. The bylaws explain the supermajority vote must have a 67% majority in order for the supermajority vote to be used along with the motion in the second. The vote to use the supermajority entailed a total of 22 votes, voting members, 15 voting yes, and 7 voting no, resulting in 68% passing. The final supermajority vote is to have another 67% majority vote in order to approve the Innovation Center. That vote resulted in 20 voting members, 14 voting yes, and 5 voting no, and 2 abstain. Okay, so you can come to a lot of conclusions yourself, but this looks like, when you look at the voting members, Kevin Cook and the mayor, you know, they're Jetto votes. And then this guy, he's the attorney for the county commissioners, and basically the 4th county commissioner. And our city manager. Well, he better go along or he could lose his job. And I'm going to talk to you in a minute about how he can lose his job. And you know, I might make big points saying, you know what, as a mayor, I think it's time to get rid of the guy. But I'd like to know how he voted. Hey, Dr. Perez, I'd like to know how you voted. If I can find out the no votes in writing, but I've got to have the minutes of the meeting. And so you got to think about this right now, voters. And you guys, if you want me to get elected, you better tell your friends, because I need a friend to tell a friend. Because this is more complicated than the lady answering her door wondering why her taxes are going up, and people just driving around hitting potholes. This just isn't a morning conversation in Topeka, Kansas, as you're going over to the Target Center to move boxes. $125 million has been spent in economic development. And are we better off? So, if I just said, Go Topeka goes away, nobody will miss them, and we start fixing the roads that were on the ballot. But you guys aren't seeing. There's a lot of smart people that don't understand this. And so how can I complain to the county? You got two attorneys with egos bigger than my Facebook viewing. They're all in cahoots. The city attorney, or the county attorney, and one of the county commissioners, Kevin Cook, they're attorneys. And you know something? Maybe I'm just not filing a complaint with the board or the bar association. But what they're doing by not answering the Cora request, I just don't think there's any way possible legally that they can take all this sales tax money and then not have to answer to the voters. So what really it comes down to more than anything, you're only getting, from these people, across the board, you only get about 67% of the truth. But look at the employees alone of Go Topeka. You know, $1.7 million in salaries, $3.5 million in overhead. The office expense is $278,000 paid to one of the board members. Jim Klossman owns that building. And I'll bet you $1 that all the NGOs have a rent, part of the rent that they pay, and then the chamber probably stays up there for free. They get all the NGOs to pay the rent to Jimbo, and then the chamber gets a discounted rent deal. Or Jim just forgives the rent because he's getting all the rent from the NGOs. But we don't know any of this really firsthand. But we do know they're willing to give $9.5 million, $3 million in a lease, and the rest in construction allowance. And here's what's even going to be more creative, is they just exercised to get this industrial revenue bond. Who's going to do the accounting to say that Go Topeka's rent didn't go to pay the IRB when you can't even get a Cora request? Well, we're not obligated to tell you that because they make up the rules as they go. Or the whole system is so corrupt, they don't have to make it up. It was already pre-planned. This is a sad state of affairs. I'm going to need your guys' help. I want to say one thing that I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about the structure of our, the way we run Topeka. And I don't think that we have the right person running the water department. I really don't. And I think, if I could just have the final say on everything, the world according to Henry, which that's what I love about coming here in my office. ABC, the head of MCRE Real Estate can't fire me. But I think if you think from a pure business standpoint, if we hired somebody to run the water department that basically could stand on his own and act as a city manager, if we hired the right people to run the departments, Braxton and Rich Eckert, they need to go open their own law firm. But let's just say the water department is probably the most critical. It has the most deferred maintenance. Streets, we can fix those. It's pretty easy to see a pothole, report it, get it fixed. Yes, it'd be great to have a street commissioner like we did. But somebody within, what I'm saying, there are staff members, there are people that work for the city of Topeka that are being pushed back by all the people Steve Wade brought in. So let's consider the source. Let's focus on Steve Wade for a second, because the existing city council were the people that brought in Steve Wade. And Steve Wade needs to be looked at like the hotel, because he probably talked them all into buying the hotel. And what I'm really trying to convince you guys is you got to look at Go Topeka as an NGO that's just basically a consultant to Jetto. So let's elect people that know something about this. I'm telling you something, it's just a matter of time. You're going to start paying to bring in the tenants over in Westridge. It's just, I can see it coming. Well, you know what? We need to get that mall fixed up. If Cody Foster can milk you guys out of $9.5 million for the AT&T building, oh, the mall's going to be icing on the cake. I mean, do you see where this is going? Do you see where this is going? But I've got to this is something that I'm going to have to get, this is something K-Gay ought to be working on. This is something General Kobach ought to be working on. And if they won't do it, I'm sure we can find some federal guy to start looking at this. There isn't anybody that knows lawfare more than what's going on in the current administration. But all this is wrong. $125 million, and you're not living better. You know, what they're doing, it's crony capitalism. and they're just feathering their own nest. And if that's what you want to do, but I won't stand for it. I'll vote no. It's not what I can do as mayor. It's what I won't do. I won't continue the status quo. Jetto, worthless. Go Topeka, worthless for the citizens. I'm going to call it a night. I just got a text message. Why am I not downtown? They got a great disco band going on. Hey, I'd open up my office down there for lease. Got to get some new tenants in that next to the Celtic Fox. Go Topeka's got to go. Henry McClure live here, coming to you live from the Glass Houses Studios, which is part of the Ryan Mowinkle empire of commercial real estate. You know, I'm thinking about trying to get that mobile sauna out there so we can sweat the Kool-Aid out of the people that have been drinking it from, you know, from him on down. The head Kool-Aid bartender, the Kool-Aid waitresses. Oh wait, now they're running the bar. Forgot about him moving. I didn't. I'm just kind of trying to make more fun of them than may be necessary, but I'm aggravated over it. And you should be too. Y'all have a good night. If nobody's told you they love you tonight, I love you.